Welcome to Leave Me Alone. I'm working on it. I'm Cassie J.
And I'm Aurea Ajewale.
Looking
Such a
so great
mouth.
in your lime green.
We're wearing color.
I
LMA
know.
is
Please be
doing
proud of
color this
us.
year.
We talk about it because it's such a journey for both of us, because both of us have a lot of black in our closets.
Mm-hmm.
So when we wear color, it actually is an act of deep intentionality and it requires a lot of energy and effort for us. So please be proud.
When we wear color, please know we worked hard for it.
We
It
worked
didn't
hard.
just
Like
happen.
it didn't just happen. It was a choice. It was maybe even a mental psych up for some of us. So yeah.
I don't have a problem with wearing color. I just don't. Because black is everything.
Black is
Cassie
quick,
needs
black
to,
is easy.
yeah.
I need to work on a lot anyway.
I just gravitate towards black. Like I'll go into a store. The other day I went into a store and there was this like a sweater that was like like a cobalt blue sort of. And it
Oh,
was
nice.
pretty. And then I pick it up and I hold it up to myself and I was like, don't they have it in black? And just that
Like
thought alone,
immediately.
I put it down and I walked away because I was like, if
Immediately.
I go on this journey, I will end up buying black, and we're not doing that this year. Guys, I'm
I'm proud of
scared.
us. Why
I'm
are you
scared
scared?
because Cassandra has arrived to this episode with a whole textbook. And now I'm just like, yo, we're getting schooled. Oh, it's
Textbook
money, is
is not
it?
it's about money, yes. Textbook is not the right word, okay? Because it's actually a really cool book. So we're working on wearing color. Well, at least I am. The other thing we're working on, okay, and this is something we've discussed in a previous episode, is like
More than
money
once, yeah.
decision. Yeah, it's talking about money, unpacking money, like all of these different things. And there was a couple of comments on one of our last videos related on money where
Mm,
someone posed a question to us and was like, well, you know, tell us more, unpack this more. What are some of the mistakes you've made with money? Um, and it just got me thinking, like, maybe we need to have a broader conversation about what successful money managing looks, sounds, and feels like.
mm,
Now, this is also something we discussed in the Adulting 101 episode, where we were like, well, I told you about how in South Africa there is a subject at school called life orientation, which
mm,
does not orientate you for life.
mm,
So allow me to step into this role
mm,
specifically on money and unpack some of the things. So I want us to go through. There is this book which I highly, highly, highly recommend. It is a book that I have read and come back to multiple times when I'm trying to unpack a money problem or trying to make something make sense. It is called Manage Your Money Like an Effing Grown Up.
Love already. Love.
Okay, Manage Your Money
Mm,
Like an Effing Grown Up. It is by a woman by the name of Sam Beck Bessinger. Okay, and she quotes it as the best money advice you never got. Now, this is a book that someone gave to me a long time ago, and
mm.
I'm really grateful that they did, because it really changed my perspective and my thinking about money. And I'm gonna go through some of the tips and tricks now. And Ore, I want you
Mm.
to weigh in as well
Look, I'm
on
the
all
last
things
person
money.
to give anyone money advice. Me, I'm here to learn because made a couple of
Well,
mistakes in my life. Not
so
gonna lie.
I think that when it comes to money, all of us want more of it. Okay. We all are like, oh, I want to make more money. I need more money. I need my salary to be increased. I need to
Yeah.
start a business to make money. I want to buy this thing. I need more money. Money is truly the thing that makes the world go round. And it's something that we all want more of. Now, that said, I think that money is one of the things, from my understanding, and I don't say this lightly.
Mm,
I say it with a lot of intention. But if you are super intentional about the choices that you make around finances, you are going to see big improvements in your life. Okay.
mm,
You just have to put a plan in place.
For sure.
Money can seem so daunting. It can seem so confusing because what and Sam talks about this in the book, but like the world has not made money something that's easy to understand, easy to grasp. You hear about economic crises and recessions, and what does that even mean? Like, what does it mean? How does it happen? And the reality is that unless this is a world that you are deeply involved in, it doesn't matter. Okay.
Mm.
It matters, but it doesn't matter. You've got to focus on what is within your control. So, step one
Mhm.
in understanding your money is creating a visual picture. Okay. And I don't mean it doesn't have to be a graph. It can literally be a table that you draw on an Excel sheet or on a piece of paper if that's what you need to do. But you need to have a visual understanding of what money exists for you today.
Mm,
What is
mm.
your income? What are you spending money on? What is your debt? What are your interests? What are your all of these different things? And so step one is really like it, Sam calls it get your shit together. She's like, get your shit together, babes. Get it together. Do you understand what you're spending your money on? How much are you spending on eating out? How much are you spending on parties? How much are you spending on I don't know, shopping for clothes?
How much
How
are
much
you
are you
spending on bone straight hair?
on babes, how much are you
Ah.
spending on bone straight hair? How much are you spending on the new latest cell phone? How much all of these different things, because
Mm.
that is going to be create a very visual picture of where the issues may potentially lie, and
Yeah.
rather where the opportunity areas lie. Now, I did this, okay, and there was this incredible, there's a lot of these apps as well. So if you just look for them, they tie to your banking app and they create a visual picture. So and they categorize your spend into different buckets. My biggest spend was on eating out,
For
restaurants,
sure.
drinking, partying, being
Shisha.
social, shishas every time, multiple shishas
You needed
if I
an
can
app
swing it.
to tell you this? Girl, I could have told you this
I
for
mean,
free. Because
no, okay,
even
but
me, that's where my
okay.
money goes. Eating out.
100%. But let's unpack it. When I looked at, I knew that that's where a lot of my money was going, but I was like, I'm having such a good time. It's okay. When I created that visual picture, it was like 40% of my income was going to this thing.
Shoo.
Isn't that
Okay.
embarrassing?
Yeah, okay, okay.
And I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gone on the journey of creating that visual picture.
Mm, mm,
So
mm.
part of getting it together is facing the painful truth, because even me, I've been the hun who's like, swipe now, we'll think about it later.
Girl, we've all been that hard. Swipe
We've
now, think about it later. We've
swipe
all
now,
done
we'll
it.
think about it later. So
Especially on
create your,
vacation.
especially on vacation, or
Mm.
even if I'm just feeling down. Like, I don't know about you, Ori, but sometimes, like, for me, when I'm feeling sad, spending money makes me feel better.
Girl, are you kidding?
Genuinely.
That one time I got that rejection when we were in
Genuinely.
Dubai and I was really mopey. I just took myself to Dubai Hills Mall and walked down that luxury line. You know the line I'm talking
Yep.
about? And I was
Yep.
like,
I
I'm
do.
about to make myself feel better. And guess what? I did make myself feel better. Cost me money.
Yeah. Right? I don't know. It just makes me feel better. There's something about that little like swiping, entering my PIN, walking away with things, going home, unpacking things. It makes me feel better. But that's dangerous. Now, as you create your dashboard, your money picture, whatever you want to call it, um, good piece of advice is to do this for 3 months. Do this for the
Mm,
last 3 months so that if there was anything that was surprise or whatever that popped in, it doesn't skew the picture unnecessarily.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Okay. So now, next up, you have a picture. Great, congratulations, of what your money dashboard looks like. And there's three emotions that you're gonna feel. Either you're going to feel like, oh, okay, I'm doing better than I thought. Like,
Mm,
this is good.
mm.
Okay. Um, uh, or you're gonna feel like, shoo, okay, I've got a little bit of work to do. Or if you were like me many, many years ago, you're gonna feel like, holy shit. Like, I'm screwed. Okay. I'm screwed. I'm stressing out. I'm spending too much. And you maybe need to calculate what your money, and Sam calls it your Sam, my very good friend Sam. I'm gonna call
You're
him
very good.
Sam for the rest of us.
Every time you say
Um,
Sam, I'm like, the way Cassie's
who?
saying this husband. No, it is, but it's just like you saying it like you're besties. It's like how my mother says when she used to quote Paul from the Bible. She'll be like,
Yeah.
Brother Paul says, and I'm like, ma'am, you don't know this man. Don't be going Brother Paul like you all have had dinner together or something. That's how you're saying Sam.
Yeah. So me and my good friend Sam. Okay. And or stop me, ask me questions that you think people might be wanting to ask, because I'm just gonna keep going.
No, you
Um,
go. I will
Please
interrupt you
interrupt,
as
interrupt,
needed.
interrupt. Okay. So now you've got a picture. Now, one of the best ways to categorize this picture is to calculate what your spending ratio is. Okay.
Mm.
I know this is going to sound super technical, but it's not. It's very easy. Basically, what you're saying is this is how much that's coming in. This is
Mm-hmm.
how much that's going
Going
out.
out. Mm.
Hopefully, what you want is at the end of the day, the going out number is green. Okay. And that's an okay feeling. If you're an okay, maybe it's netting at zero. Maybe you're one of those people that's like, I literally met someone who said to me, like, you can't let this month's salary meet next month's salary. And I was like,
What?
yeah, that is a stressful piece of money advice. Stressful piece of money advice. And I
You
was
can't
very
let this
concerned.
month's salary meet last month's salary. So, like, what?
That's
Spend it all before the
so
new one
like
comes in?
correct. Correct.
People are living like that?
Well, this was her piece of advice to me, and I really had to double click because I was like, babes, are you like okay? Like, what
Does
if
she like
some
have a trust fund? Does she
no,
like have
absolutely, absolutely not.
other because
Absolutely not.
my anxiety could never take it. What?
Even me, even me. Anyway, it was a very stressful sentence that she stated, and I was like, yeah, I hope you're not saying this to other people because that's a wild piece of advice.
I hope you're not living
Um,
like this.
and yeah, I hope this is a joke you're just making and you're
Mm.
not actually living like this. But anyway. So calculate your spending ratio. And if you find that the money that's going out is more than the money that's coming in, your spending
You've got
ratio
a
calculation
problem.
will
Yeah.
change. Okay.
Mm.
So now you've figured out where you're at. Now the next thing to do is to understand what do we do next. Okay. And what we do next is very much dependent on where your money dashboard like nets off and what it looks like.
Mm.
Um, now, the other thing that I want to unpack before we do this is the other thing that makes money so stressful, and maybe or you can share a little bit on this as well, but like, is that it's so easy to have so many different money goals that it
Mm.
feels very overwhelming.
Mhm.
So it's like, I want to save for the girls' trip, I want to save for that new pair of shoes. I want to save for a new laptop. I want to save for a new car. And I want to save for my kids' school. And all of these different things can just feel so incredibly overwhelming where you're like, oh, okay, well, where do I even begin?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
where do I even begin? So that's what we're gonna do next. And Sam has this really great this great like flow chart that unpacks which game you need to play to get your shit together. Get
Mm.
your money shit together. Okay. So it's about figuring out which game you're playing. If your spending ratio is one of those ones that it's like, it's we're in the red, we're spending more than what's coming in, you are officially in emergency lockdown. Okay.
Mm.
It is coronavirus level one lockdown. No access to alcohol, no access to cigarettes, no access
Sure, it
to
was
nothing.
wild.
It was wild. COVID was wild. But you know that lockdown feeling? And it's tough. It is T for temps. I understand because you want to live and you want to have fun. But you are in emergency lockdown because the reality is that your financial goals, the things that you want, they're never going to come to fruition if
Mm.
you stay in this space. Okay. So you're in emergency lockdown. Maybe you're in the next phase. And now this is something that I found super, super helpful. And I wonder, or you've also got a good like saving culture, but she talks about building what she calls an oh shit fund. And it's like,
Gotta
so
have
if
one
you're
of
not
those.
if you're not in emergency lockdown, so if you're in emergency lockdown, goal number one is you need to get yourself out of the red.
Mm,
Get
mm,
yourself out of the red. You focus on nothing else. There's no, I'm sorry, but there's no time for a new laptop. There's no time for a girls' trip. There's no space for that because you need to get yourself into the black. Right now, you're very, very much in the red. Um, if you are not so much in the red and you're building an oh shit fund, okay, this is basically about those moments where you're like, surprise, the geyser broke.
mm.
Surprise,
Oh
my car
gosh.
broke down, right? My
Mm.
car broke down. Surprise, my I don't know, my cell phone got stolen, which is a very real reality if you live in South Africa.
If you live anywhere, girl, what do you
If you
mean?
live anywhere, fair, fair, fair. Okay. You know, these kinds of things, like s- something has popped up. You need, oh shit, I need to figure it out.
Mm,
Okay. You need to be building an oh shit fund. A good rule of thumb is that your oh shit fund should be 1 month of your 1 month's worth of
of your
your
salary.
your currently
Your
living
living
expenses.
experiences, sorry.
Your
Your living
living
expenses, yeah.
expenses.
Yeah. You need to
Exactly.
be able. Is it 1 month? I thought it was supposed to be 6 months, Cass.
Well,
I've
this is the
seen
Ocean Fund.
where
We're
the
gonna go. We're gonna go to one of the next
okay.
categories, which taps into that. So you're gonna build your Ocean Fund. Okay. The next thing, and this is a big thing that I have seen amongst amongst what they sell and they pitch, especially to women, is
Mm,
is consumer debt. Okay. And by consumer debt, I mean the Trueworths card, the Edgar's card, the Sephora
mm-mm,
card, the
mm-mm,
like, that in-store credit, buy now, pay later. This is pushed very, very hard. And the issue with debt like that is that it carries very, very high forms of interest.
mm.
And it feels good now, but it will come to bite you in the bum later when it affects things
Yeah.
like your credit score and your credit rating, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
I
Okay.
don't subscribe to I've never subscribed to it. I don't now. And
Yeah.
I pray God I never do in the future because it's just
Yeah.
like it's just one very slippery slope. Like it's so easy for you to get into that thing, the store cards and all of the like just if you don't have to, don't do it. You don't need it. Anything you can't
Correct.
pay for now,
Now.
then you're not getting it. Like that's I feel like
Yeah.
that's the safest way. Except the only things I feel like you should ever go into debt for is like student loans because you must get an education. What
I'm
what
so
what are you
glad
gonna
you
do?
I'm so glad you brought this up because let's quickly chat about debt as well. When you're calculating your like emergency lockdown financial situation, okay? And we're not counting the debt that is considered good debt, the debt that is considered, acceptable debt.
Mm,
Number one, student loans, okay?
mm,
Because it's furthering you, it's what's going to enable your income later, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
so student debt, we don't consider student debt. The next thing we don't consider is home loans. You have to live somewhere. You have to sleep somewhere. So we're not counting that. And then last but not least, and this is again a shaky one, is the car debt. Because you
Yeah.
have to be able to drive from point A to B. You have to be able to get to your job. You have to be able to live. So car debt we don't count. Now, don't be stupid and get a Lamborghini
That's what I
if
was
your
gonna say.
pockets can only afford and this is true for your house as well. Don't buy a house you
But
can't
must
afford.
you
Don't
buy a
buy
house?
a great question.
I
Unpack
used
this
to
sentence
be,
for me.
I used to be, until very recently, I used to be, and look, part of it is that I'm Nigerian. Part of it is that I've moved around a lot and I'm wanting and needing stability, and buying a house will provide that for me. The third thing
Mm,
is having lived in Dubai and being rocked with the are you going to renew your lease, or is your landlord going to arrive
mm,
and say he wants to sell, or is he
mm.
going to put
Oh,
50K on the rent? You don't know
horrible.
year on year whether or not you're going to be in the same space. So I
Horrible.
think like that's why for me I was like buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. It's a Nigerian mama I made it moment is like you must buy a house.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but until very recently, that was me. I was like, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. Like, if you don't buy a house and you're just renting, I used to say, and I've said this even to my husband, I'm like, we're just throwing money away because, like, the money that we're paying for the rent could really just be paid to own the house. So I that
Yeah.
that has been how I've thought. But I'm just like, when you actually get to the point of buying a house and you
Mm.
realize how much goes into it beyond like your
Yeah.
monthly payments, beyond whatever you're
1000%.
paying back to the bank, like even just maintaining
1000%.
the house. And then I
1000%.
listened to, I can't remember her name, but it's this girl on Dave Ramsey. And she was just like, you must live somewhere. There needs to be a roof over your head. So, how
Mm.
is paying rent throwing money away?
Mm.
Like it's a key living experience. You're not gonna go live under
Mm.
the bridge. You're not gonna live in
100%.
the subway. So it's not throwing money away. So I'm just like, if you buying a house is great. I still want to buy a house and I will at some point.
Mm.
But I'm like, if what you can afford to do now, where you are at this point in your life, if you've done the math properly, is to rent, then rent until you can buy. Like there's no point
100%.
you spending more than you more because I think it was Dami that was telling me that a good rule of thumb is to have your rent or whatever you're paying for your living space be about 25% of your income, like total.
Correct.
25, not
Yeah.
more than that. Is there any
Yes.
point in you buying a house and then spending 40, 50%? Do you know what I mean? When you could spend 25 and live in a nice place
Yeah.
until such a time where you can afford to buy a house.
100%.
Same thing you're saying with the
100%.
Lamborghini. Girl, even me, I like a nice car. Whoo, what you saying? But right now, I can afford a Picanto. Hey, bo, we'll put some nice air freshener in that car. We'll blast the music, pick a nice color.
That's and then that's fine. Truly, truly. Now, this whole thing about like buying a house, I think is it's a good thing to chat about. My good friend Sam, she feels very much like you do. Well, the concept you were chatting about now is that you still need to live somewhere and there's nothing wrong with renting. And there is
Mm,
this big I don't know if it is a symbol status. It's a status of like, mama, I made it. Like I bought a house,
mm,
and there is that, and that is it carries its own level of significance for various people in various ways. Um, but if it doesn't fit the budget, you should not be putting any unnecessary pressure on yourself to
yeah.
to, to get there. Truly, truly,
Can I
truly.
tell you
Like,
what has led us here? It's
tell
all
me.
them Pinterest houses and all those
Oh,
Instagram Instagram videos of the nice
yeah.
houses and
Other
houses that
beautiful
were flipped
homes.
over a year. And we bought this house as a dump, and now it looks like a mansion. Da 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 da. Girl, you don't know if they are soaking 2 minute noodles after buying that house. So calm down,
Correct.
calm down.
100%, 100%. So there is a lot of like mixed thinking around buying versus renting and what makes
Yeah.
sense and is it an investment? Now, what I can tell you, and again, someone in the comments asked this question. The question was, what's the biggest mistake you've made with money? And for me, it was exactly around this buying a house situation. So my
What?
first, no, I'm gonna unpack the first property that I bought, the first property that I purchased, exactly like you were calling out, the calculation that I looked at was renting versus owning.
Mm,
Okay. And the rent and the owning, the numbers were very, very similar. So I
mm,
thought to myself, well, at the end of the experience, I could then own my house. So why would I rent? Why would I
mm,
do that? What I didn't take into account was exactly what you said is the cost of rates and levies,
mm,
the additional costs of taxes, the
mm-hmm,
additional costs of general maintenance.
mm-hmm.
Um, and the fact that all of those costs periodically increase,
Yeah.
year on year on year on year. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, while I was paying, let's say, 10K a month, I'm making it up, but like 10K a month rent to mortgage, it actually was like, 14, 15K a month, rent
Yeah.
to mortgage.
Yeah.
And so it would have
Yeah.
actually been cheaper for me to rent. Now, so you joke about 2 minute noodles, but for the first, like, I'm not kidding, for the first like 6 to 8 months of me living in that apartment, I was eating like peanut butter on toast kind of food. You know
What?
what I mean? like very, very it was the 2-minute noodles. It was jam and butter on toast. It was like truly like buying a
Mm.
chicken. I was like, whoop, I can buy some chicken. Like truly. I had a beautiful house, but I had underestimated
Mm.
what the costs were
What the
going to
cost?
be.
Yeah.
And it took me like 6 to 8 months to recover, you
Mm,
know?
mm.
Um, so for me, that was the biggest mistake that I made with money. And the biggest kind of like underestimation that I did when it was about, when it came to buying a house.
You know, we're joking about this 2-minute noodles thing, but in Nigeria, it's actually a thing that we say and do. So, like for instance, you want to buy a house, or you want to throw a wedding, or you want to buy a car, and it's like expensive, and you know that like all of the money's going to go there. we
Mm.
we often joke and we say it's fine. We'll swipe the card and then we'll drink Gary. Like Gary's our version of 2-minute noodles. Gary's just it's cassava flakes. You soak it
Mm.
in water, you add some sugar. If you want to get fancy, you can put some milk, put some groundnuts in it. It's not a bad meal, but it's also considered like a poor man's meal. And so we say this thing like it's the lived experience and the reality of a lot of people. They're like, it's
Yeah.
fine, we'll spend the money, we'll drink Gary after. Like
Yeah.
that can only take you so far. How long
Yeah.
do you want to keep living your life, that way? Yeah.
With you. No, 100%. And I'm saying I lived it. My first property, I lived it and I was like, "Oh, snap." You best believe the second time, and my parents who are into property and that kind of thing, they were like, "Okay, are you ready to buy your second one?" I was like, "Don't talk to me about that thing. I don't want to hear about it unless you are physically putting money in my pocket. I want to hear nothing about that." I'm
Mm,
like, I'm
mm,
not interested. And then the next time I engaged in the activity, it was done with a lot more knowledge, and a
mm.
lot more
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
understanding. But that's
Mm.
something that I learned the hard way. Now, the other thing that I was gonna say, which I is clean forgotten. Oh, the last thing I'll say on property is people think that you're gonna make a lot of money from property. And you can. Don't get me wrong. It is possible to make a lot of money from property, but property is a long game.
The
Do you know what I
long
mean?
game.
It's a
Yeah.
long ROI game.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a while before you see the returns. And
Yep.
again, this is again why there's the argument about, is investing in property the right thing to do? Yes or no. So yeah, just FYI, a long game. If you
Mm.
take out a bond with a bank, that can be up to, 15, 20,
20.
30 year
Yep.
mortgages,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're diligent and you pay it off sooner, fantastic. But if you're
Mm.
not, like, your house, the value of your house is going to take a while to increase in value. It's going to take a while for you to pay it off. And these are all things,
And your
that you
house is not your house for 30 years.
and your house is not your
Literally.
house for 30 years. Correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct. It's about understanding again which game we're playing. We've unpacked the emergency lockdown mode. We've unpacked the build an oh shit fund. And this whole then idea of get out of debt, get out of that consumer debt as quickly and as possible, as fast as you possibly can, and do not let yourself get back into it. Okay, it is a trap. That level of interest is too high. It does not make sense. Okay, if you
Mhm.
cannot afford the Levi jeans now, they're not meant to be. It's not meant to be.
Get regular jeans.
Choose get cheaper jeans, or save up for the jeans you want. And
Mm.
then the last bucket that you'll be building for, and these are, I just want to clarify also that these are all tiered. You have to make sure that the one is done before you move to the other. And
Mm.
again, that's to kind of help that overwhelming sense of like, there's too much to save
Yeah.
for, there's too much that, like, how am I going to do this? It's one after the other. You fall into one of these buckets, and once you've completed that bucket, then you move on to the next. This is my favorite of all of the buckets. It's called Build a Table Flip Fund. Okay. We've all had that vision. We've all had that moment in our minds where we dream of like, your boss is something ridiculous to you, and you're like, you know what? Screw it. You flip the table and you're like, I
Ow.
quit. I quit. Okay. And this speaks to what, Aura, you were calling out earlier about having that 6-month balance
Yeah.
available to you. Okay. So again, you calculate how much money would you need to, if you didn't have a job, if you didn't have income, how much would you need to survive? And this is again your basic expenses for 6 months. For six
Mm.
months, you've got that. And what that does is that it creates a sense of financial freedom. It
Mm.
creates the sense of like, it gives you the freedom to walk away from negative and bad situations. It gives
Mm.
you the freedom to choose yourself in a moment when everything else is saying, babes, run, run, run.
Mm.
So build a table flip fund. And then the next kind of phase is really then up to you. Once you have that, maybe you are working towards financial freedom. Okay, that's a different book. Financial freedom, by that I mean, you want passive income so you don't have to work and you can just roam around the world. Okay. Maybe
Mm.
you're working towards leaving a legacy for family. Again, that's a different book. Maybe you're working towards being a billionaire. And if you want to be a billionaire, getting $1 billion in the bank is something that you're working towards. Like a different book, also, please send me
Mm.
money. You know what I mean? If you give me any time, let me know. I'd love to be part of that experience with you. No, but all jokes aside, those are different chats. Really, this is about lifting yourself up into a sense of understanding your money, knowing where you're at, and feeling
Mm.
comfortable to make decisions for your life that you can do so.
Mm.
Now the last thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that Sam covers in her book as well. I think she does a pretty good job of it. Sam obviously is not a black person, but she has tried her best to understand black tax, and she incorporates that in this book as
Okay.
well, which I think is super, super interesting. And it really is about, and it's a lot about what we have talked about as well, where it's drawing boundaries,
Mm.
understanding your obligation, and understanding that you may need to contribute to family, but having those boundaries be very clear and not allowing yourself to be abused, as in
Yeah.
where it
Mm.
makes sense. A
Mm.
very difficult one, a tough one, because the
Yeah.
strings will be hugged on and all the rest of that. But if it is about building financial freedom, so one of the things she says is, commit to an amount a month. So if the amount is, X thousand of, dollars, rands, whatever it is that you're operating in, then that is the amount. Okay. There is no more, there is no less. That's the amount. And then you include it in your dashboard. You include it in your money, and you track and you track and you track and you make sure that you're staying on top of it. So,
Mm.
really managing your money like an effing grown up
As I
is
add
number
to
one.
cart.
Yeah, add to cart. So, by the way, this book is available everywhere. If you shop physically and exclusive books, it's available there. If you shop online, Take a Lot and Amazon, if you're the internationals, it is available. Purchase it. It's really, really great. Fully, fully, fully recommend. Because she really takes what seems like complex financial discussions, and she breaks them down and makes them
Yeah.
very, very, very simple.
Mm.
Um, Okay, cool.
Helpful. Helpful chat.
Helpful. I know.
Helpful chat.
And this was very much like Cassie lecturing you. So I'm sorry if this was not the episode for you, you're not there yet. That's okay. But if you are and this was helpful, like please, please, please tap in, buy in to this book, these strategies. I think we'll maybe even put on socials, maybe even a picture of this flow chart so that you can see. It's basically like is this your situation? Yes. If yes,
Yeah.
do this. If no, do this. Do you know what I mean? It's like a beautiful flow
Yeah.
chart that Sam, my good friend Sam, has created. I don't know,
Cassie's good
Sam,
friend Sam.
you're great. You're great. I feel very connected to you because of this book. It's amazing. But yeah, manage your money, and part of managing your money is creating truly being able to create the life for yourself that you want, and have that not just be something that you talk about, but something
Mm.
that you're working on,
Yeah.
that becomes a reality for you. For
Mm.
me personally, I'm in the build a flip it table fund. That's where I am. i'm building I'm
Why do
building
you need
that.
a flip a table? You just got a new job, girl. What you? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm
I'm
just
kidding.
saying, like, life
I'm,
happens.
I'm
What if they come and they're like, oh, sorry, we're retrenching people. I need to be able to be like, well, okay, it's fine because I got to flip a table fund.
Yeah, I need to go sit down and do this audit as well, and like I've added the book to cart and actually this one I will buy. This is not one of those wait
Yay!
48 hours and then remove from cart type scenarios.
Worth the investment.
And
Worth the
just try figure
investment.
out like where exactly am I. Money's not my favorite thing to talk about, but
Mm,
it is an
mm,
important thing like for me, money is a bit more of a private thing. Like I want to deal with
yeah,
it, like listen to the podcast, read the
yeah,
books, learn it,
yeah,
understand it, but like by
yeah,
myself, and
yeah,
sometimes that's
yeah.
not the best way to navigate things sometimes because you've
Mhm.
called this out, like actually having open conversation and discussions with other people, like people either in the same life phase as you, or sometimes
Yeah,
and usually better people who are higher up than you, doing better than you,
yeah,
will actually help challenge you and get you to the right place. So like
yeah,
lately I've learned to be a little bit more open about money conversations and to have those
yeah,
conversations, and like it doesn't have to be this hidden thing that we
yeah.
do that anyway. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get the book and I'm going to try and audit and see like where am I. I'll tell you one thing for free. I am definitely not in the flip it table fund. I'm not there yet. So, but yeah, I think this was a helpful chat.
Yeah. I stand by what I said in the previous episode where I'm like, we need to be talking to each other about money more. We
Yeah.
need to be teaching each other the things that we've done wrong, the things that we've done right. The
Mm,
thing that I'm teaching myself, I don't feel comfortable enough to talk about it because I don't understand it enough yet. But like I'm learning investing in stocks and
mm,
trading and shares
mm,
and like this kind of thing because that's like it's passive income. I have seen great returns. I've made mistakes where I have lost money,
mm.
and so I'm learning a little about that. Maybe that's what I'll share
Shoot,
on
girl, that investment
next
chat, I've
time.
lost money. I'm not gonna
Mm,
lie.
yep,
And it's
yep.
painful. Whoo,
Ooh,
okay. But
it's so
separate
nice
chat.
when you see that coin coming in for free. That's the thing that got me is that like when I put in a little bit of money, I got a 20% return.
But that's how
Like
they get you.
not they, because this is not like me giving my money to someone. Like this
That's
is
how the
me
system
buying the stocks.
works.
It's not how the system works. It's about understanding the system because
Girl,
this
that's
can be a
how it works.
reality.
You put a little bit of money in, you get good money out. So you put more money in, and then you get good money out until you put good money in and then you lose it. This is just what happens. I don't know how
But
to
then
explain it.
what I will explain to you then is that it needs to be an informed decision. There is
Of course.
people are making money, and if you are putting money in and then you immediately lose it, then maybe it's not an informed
No, no,
decision.
no. What I'm
What
saying
I'm
is you
saying
put
is that
money in,
I've
you
learned
make it, but there
it's
will be a
possible.
losing as well. Even the
Yeah,
people
of
making
course.
so much money have lost
Yes.
so much money.
So
It's
much
just
money. Yeah.
the thing about it is you need to be able to stick with it. You need to be able
Yeah.
to like chest the hurts and keep pushing.
Correct.
That's the thing about
Correct.
it.
Correct. Anyway, so again, I don't want to be one of
Yeah,
those
I don't
like
know enough about this to
investment
teach
investment trading bros. Just like buy some stocks and stuff. Like it's gonna be fun. No,
anyone.
I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm practicing, and when I know, I
Yeah.
will teach you as well. I will share the
Yeah.
knowledge. I will not gatekeep. Anyway, I hope this episode was helpful for people. I know that it was very technical. It might have felt very technical. It
Girl,
might
it
have
wasn't
felt very
it wasn't
overwhelming.
that technical. It
Good.
was
I'm so
broken
glad.
down quite nicely, to be
Good.
honest.
I'm really glad to hear that because that's exactly how I felt after reading the book. Come and send us your questions or send them directly to Sam. I don't know if there's a way we can find her. But
Sam's
like
got social media.
Sam's got social media somewhere. Maybe we'll tag her or whatever it is. But like send your questions. Ask each other, ask people in your world, ask us. And if we don't know, maybe we'll try and find the answers somewhere
Mm,
and come back to you. But this episode really was off the back end of someone who left us a comment. This episode exists because someone asked a question. So
yeah.
ask your questions. Let's learn together. If you know something and you see someone in the comments, answer their question. Tell them, let's create this community who understands and is managing their money better. So come say hi on socials. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. And of course, you can watch all of our other episodes as well as this one on Apple, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe anywhere and everywhere you find your podcasts. Also, you can watch and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, love you, bye!